Good morning everyone, Julien here. Let's look at this. So it's been quite surreal to be able to come here on a regular basis to stop and think about what it is I do and try and pay attention to what's happening around me. And so this morning I just want to have a bit of a conversation with you about some of my thoughts and observations after going yesterday to this iSportConnect event organized together with PwC at the Olympic Museum. As you might have seen on LinkedIn, basically I had two fundamental questions. One, how well have understood and integrated those sports authorities about some of the concerns in the general public about performance and cheating and reputation, I guess increasing doubts people have about sports as an industry, generally speaking. And then secondly, the issue of e-reputation and how they're approaching this question of online communities and how they might be perceived by those increasingly large numbers of people that are gathering online. So what do I take away from this really interesting day? Well, first thing is it might just be me being somewhat, candid or somewhat ignorant about this industry, but how much of it actually is just that, just another industry. I mean, it might be the I don't know, the little kid in me still thinking that there's a lot more to sport than just entertainment and industry and marketing and advertising time. A bit of a wake-up call. Most of the conversations were actually about how do we find ways of engaging those individuals, engaging those consumers in ways that make them more loyal and more engaged with some of the content that we're trying to use to negotiate, image and IP rights, very much like the music industry, really. And so, I guess I was kind of hoping, sorry, I've just had 3 pigeons just landing right there and enjoying the debate about which one of the 2 is going to get the girls. Anyway, about, how do we find ways of increasing the loyalty of those consumers as a way of getting access to bigger, better contracts, etc., etc. So, bit of disheartening, there was hardly any conversation about the actual sports fans. Now, it might just be that this was the wrong setting, and I'm not, going to pretend like those industries don't care about their fan base, because I know that's not the truth. But how much of it actually is commercial industry? That was the first point. The second point that I found very refreshing is one of the big trends in sports today is a lot of people asking themselves a question about this e-sport or those online communities. An interesting fact I gathered during the day was that there's more volume of entertainment consumption in those online video games / e-sport platforms than there is in any of the sort of more linear mainstream broadcasting media. Which is interesting to me because I just don't belong to that world. I might just be playing on video games now and then on my phone, but so I don't consider myself a gamer. But I might just be the statistical oddity here. I might be the outlier, not those gamers. So things are moving fast in that space. And so what was interesting is the fact that these communities really are just that. They are communities of consumers. They are communities around specific centers of interest. And that typically for some of the usual advertisers, unless they come to this with an authentic desire to belong and an authentic desire to contribute to those communities, that can sometimes go really bad by way of reputation or negative feedback from that quite closely knit community. And so the question I'm asking myself this morning, since I've had my first coffee and before I go to my second one, is how much damage is this focus on IP rights, media, might be having on the industry as a whole? are they going down the same path of commoditization of what is, in other ways, fueled by passion, fueled by personal desires, fueled by projection of people into high performance? The true passion for sport is everything but commercial. But by trying to figure out ways of making this content more readily accessible, by focusing on what's going to be the best way of maximizing the value chain along that content, are they not recreating some of the same shortcomings of highly commoditized industries? So I'm thinking, even looking at consulting and engineering, it's just so many products and services are now so commodity that people see very limited value. It would be such a shame for such a lovely thing that that is sport. So I'm not too sure. I think one of the main outcomes for me is I think I'm going to be really watching closely this interaction between historical mainstream sport industries and those large federations, and how they go about engaging with those content distributors, and the fact that they are now one step remote from their consumers. So typically take football as a sport. So now those sports rights are being given to take the UK or France, for example, to a number of broadcasters. So if it takes 5-6 different subscriptions for you to be able to access the sport you want, at some stage, I think consumers are likely to be somewhat frustrated with this. And so they get kind of disconnected themselves from their consumer base. So how is this going to merge with those really closely knit, nicely connected online communities of gamers and esports fans? I think I'm going to be paying a lot more attention to what might be happening in that space, and that might just be what is my main takeaway from yesterday. It was a great day, much food for thought, and I've came back with many more questions than actually have answers. So it was a good day all in all. Anyway, that was my quick debrief of what happened yesterday, just in case it might be of any use to you. And if it is, I think I'm starting to enjoy doing those little briefings from here. So just watch this space, there might be more to come. Anyway, that's all for now. I hope you have a great end of the week, and that wherever you might be enjoying some weather that isn't too far from this, because right now this is a very happy place. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.